So, gentlemen, we've been getting, as you can imagine, a lot of emails from very worried travelers, many of whom are stuck. They want to find ways to get where they need to go. Mark, what's the best thing they can do that's not going to crush them financially?
Well, hopefully they've booked with a travel agent, because if they book with a travel agent, all they have to do is contact their agent and we've got their back. We have access to all the airlines' reservation systems, so we can very quickly check to see what might be available on other airlines to get them home if they're stranded.
Okay, I hear you with hopefully they booked, but I'm going to venture that quite a few people have booked on their own because it's significantly easier in this era to do that. And if you've done that, and now you're trying to book independently to get out of where you are because you just can't wait anymore, what are your chances of ever getting reimbursed by either Air Canada or insurance?
Well, Air Canada is responsible for getting you back to where you started your travel. It's part of the contract that you entered into with them when you booked your ticket. You can try pulling up your reservation on the Air Canada website or through the app and see if you're able to make any changes through there. Otherwise, unfortunately, you're going to have to try to get a hold of them on the phone.
Okay. John, I'm curious. In past labor disputes, is it your sense that eventually people do get reimbursed? And does it matter where you are stranded at the time?
Yeah, it does matter where you get stranded. If you're stranded in Canada for a domestic trip, the only obligation Air Canada has is really to offer you alternative transportation within 48 hours of your scheduled arrival. Any hotels or meals or anything else that might be involved while you wait for that flight is out of your own pocket. There is no possibility. There's nothing in the regulations that basically require Air Canada to cover those costs. If you are in Europe, however, different set of rules. The Europeans require that in the event of a cancellation, the carrier again has 48 hours to book you on a return flight. And if that flight does not meet your requirements, you can then go to your own resources, book a flight, pay for the hotels, it's out of your pocket. But once you come home, that claim, along with all the receipts that you have, are submitted to Air Canada, and Air Canada is obligated to repay you.
Okay, so that's only if you're in Europe, for example.
That's correct.
John, can you help us understand something about this particular situation? Flight attendants are furious about not being paid for the work they do when they are not in the air. We are getting a lot of questions from viewers about asking, for example, how is this even legal? How typical is this of the airline industry globally?
It is fairly typical. I think that this has been a tradition or a method of pay for flight attendants and pilots for a number of decades. So, and it was put in place because it was a simple way of reckoning the total workload for a flight attendant. They fixed the salary for the work inside the airplane and then bumped it up by 20 or 30% to reflect all the work that they do outside of the aircraft. So in their salaries they have today, there is a recognition, not in it's hidden in their salary, that work is being covered by their hourly rate. However, in the last 4 or 5 years, I think airlines have been pressured by a number of labor and government groups to basically make that expression of outside the aircraft work, to make it very overtly shown to the flight attendants at a salary level that's somewhat less than what they would get in the cabin, but it does recognize very explicitly on their paycheck, this is the amount of work that we have assigned that's prior to your aircraft, and you're being paid accordingly.
Okay. It's pretty confusing. I think also confusing for the passengers again right now. Mark, going back to you one more time. I heard you when you said about hopefully they book through a travel agent, but the best thing they could do right now would be what?
Don't go to the airport. There's nothing that the staff at the airport can do for you. You're going to have to try to get through to Air Canada over the telephone to have them book alternative arrangements for you. Or that is the best piece of advice I'd give right now.
Okay. And John, we are in this very unusual situation where, the flight attendants have said, nope, we're not going back to work. In your experience, and I understand, this is rare, it's not unprecedented. What happens next in an impasse like this?
Well, like you said, this is not something that's an everyday occurrence. We have what I would call civil disobedience on the part of union members to return to work. Some have characterized this as being unlawful. Others have characterized it as being illegal, including the Canada Industrial Relations Board. The unions have a different opinion, that this is an infringement on their right to strike, that they have a Supreme Court decision that says, the employees have a right to strike and you can't take it away from them. So there is a legal tussle taking place, and that's where the airlines and where Air Canada and its flight attendants are having to deal with solving that problem through binding arbitration or negotiation.
Okay, it's still messy. All right, John Gradek, Mark Greenwood, thank you very much.
Thank you.